who invented the web, Tim Berners-Lee, and when he did it, the web was still black and white, so he was probably looking like this more. And when he set out to build the web, he had scientists in mind that would share their research results and then publish them on their own web servers. And then there would be directory services that never were really explained or done, where people could find things. We're very, very lucky that history had other plans. The internet is the biggest thing humanity has built to date. And the web is its biggest component and most important. It's the foundation of global information distribution, commerce, and communication. It contributes to every country's economy in significant ways, and it keeps people more educated. It allows efficient digital communication for everybody. It fuels businesses from mom to pop shops to large enterprises. The internet is awesome. Let me repeat, the internet is awesome. Right? Good, you got it. You can always bet on Jake Chris. The internet revolutionizes industry after industry, and some industries like it and some don't, but they kind of don't have a choice. And the web itself gets revolutionized every couple of years as well. Web 2.0, social media, mobile, native, APIs, like all this stuff that we crazily do that shape the complete landscape of everything that came before it. But OS, as a result, this is awesome because the web and the internet, they become more and more relevant in all of our lives, and we can reap all the benefits from having the internet interfering with all our lives in more ways, and that's just great. I'll get into that in a bit. What is interesting about revolutions inside the web, the revolutions that go on inside the web, is that they're non-destructive. They're additive. A new thing can come along and change everybody's perception about how something works, but that doesn't mean the things that came before it have to go away necessarily. Facebook didn't kill email. Native didn't kill HTML5. This is pretty crazy. And the web has evolved a lot, and we've seen, it's nearly 20 years now, and big phase shifts keep happening, and we're still at the beginning of this. So I'm going back a little bit to the history, just right after Tim, maybe. The people who built the software of the web in the early days, they did a lot of things right. They built software for the common good that was free, and that was so good that it dominated commercial solutions left and right. And it was great. And they built the foundations of all the great things that we have today, like the people who invented the HTTPD and worked on SendMail and Postfix and all this crap that fuels everything that we don't see today anymore because we hide it behind HTTP. Yay. But these pioneers, why is there no advancing going on? Sorry. I'm very grateful that we live in their legacy, that we have a world where the foundation is given away for free and for the benefit of everybody. So this is pretty cool. The technologists of the early days, though, there were so few of them, and there was so much to do, so they were so busy that they couldn't keep up with the pace of the ludicrously fast-growing web. They didn't, however, keep an eye on the original promise of the web, subsequently the internet and subsequently the web, a distributed, loosely coupled network of goodness. With commercial interest entering and great salaries paid, the technologists focused on centralization of computing power and data. Note, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not faulting anyone for getting us in that direction. Are we done here? Still going, all right. The web was a messy place back then. We had no idea what the web was, and we keep, all these revolutions that come up, we keep figuring out what the web is. Still today, after 20 years. So back in the day, I would probably have done the same. Like I said, I'm grateful for where we are, and hey, this is my talk. But it left us today with a web that is ripe for a new revolution, or another revolution, a revolution that brings us back to the original promise, a revolution that won't kill anything of the good that we have today, but that comes and enhances everything for everybody significantly. I want us to lead that revolution. Oh, I need a drink here. Why don't we have nerd community service? Why don't we run a mail server for our house or blog or our district or city? Why aren't we offering a digital communications node in a large mesh network? Why do half our mails go to the USA over HTTP and back to Europe over HTTP, or IMAP if you're old school, when we want to send a message to our best friend down the street? Why are we paying for DSL and cable per apartment and not share a pipe per house or per blog and share the cost and all use that common resource? Why do we need Facebook? Ooh, what happened?
I don't know.
That looks all good. That's all good. All good. Thanks. We can watch that again if you want, but nope. Why do we need Facebook? To mine our every activity, just so they can show us the right ads in order that they can make enough money to keep the whole operation running so that we have a social network. What the fuck? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why we can't and we shouldn't expect that everyone becomes as computer savvy as we are. And we shouldn't expect that everybody would run their own infrastructure, their own mail server. In fact, nobody, not even we shouldn't administer Apache and send mail. Like, that is bullshit. And that is the reason we still need to get in a way where everybody can do this. So that's the reason we need to build better alternatives. They are better because they're easier to use and maintain. They're easier to use, and they're better because they come pre-installed on infrastructure hardware, and they're better because they are the building blocks for better user experience. Through all of that, we will be able to keep all the good that the web has brought us and increase it by an order of magnitude for an order of magnitude more people. There's this phrase, on the wrong side of history, that expresses opinions held for contentious issues that don't hold over time. Democracy, equal voting rights, school education for every kid, not just the rich white ones. Every decade and every century, they have their own debates, and over time, the proponents of the losing party seem to be more and more ridiculous in hindsight. I strongly believe that the centralized web that we have today is on the wrong side of history. A decentralized web will allow for even more personal and economic growth. It will help people to connect better and do amazing things even more. They overthrow and circumvent oppressive governments and tyrannies, bring more and better information to better organize to more people. It will create a better world. I'm not suggesting a fully decentralized web with no points of central control or censorship is without problems. But who the fuck wouldn't be better prepared, equipped and educated to solve all these problems than the people in this room? Now, today, we must build the future that our ancestors in 100 years look back on and say, well, they got that one right. Like, we praise the people that fought for the right side of history that we have today when that was hard, when they had opposition that had power and money and that tried their respective best to keep us on the wrong side of history. We need to be pioneers again. We've got all the fucking technology in the world. We have decentralized databases, accessible client-server technologies, mesh network protocols, encryption, privacy, Jabber, BitTorrent, Tor. Some of these are software packages, some of these are just open standards that everybody can use. Well, we've got it all, but none of it is good enough. It's not well enough integrated, it's too hard to maintain, to extend and operate. And because our things too hard, we leave them to others or just don't do them. Google isn't the only entity in the world that can build a compelling webmail experience or webmail solution. The technology is all out there. Maybe they're the only ones that can do that at their scale, but well, if we have a Gmail replacement that runs on every street corner, that scale is not a problem anymore. And the protocols that we already have are built in a way to support that. We just don't implement it because of the powers that are. The same literally holds true for everything else. We must not be content with what we have, not be content because something has everybody's mind share, and we think we can't change that. Again, we have all the technology to get this right. Let's do this now and together. One trick is to put things together in new ways, more compelling experience and solutions. This will be requiring a lot of rewriting things, writing a lot of new code, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of glue to make it all fit together. Another trick is to organize us in smarter ways. Instant unicorns, because we already have the tools to make this work for us. Amazing designers from Portugal can team up with German developers. How great is that? Like, we can just, like, fuck all and do this. It's like, what are we waiting for? Why don't we do this? The focus needs to be on experience. It's the lesson that Instagram taught us. We can beat Facebook by making a better user experience. So much that Facebook had to shell out $1 billion to make sure Instagram doesn't kill Facebook. A show of hands. How many here had a product or service that they love on the web that was taken away because they were acquired by Google, Facebook, or Twitter, or whatever else? Significant amount of people. All right. Now, imagine an Instagram, a Sparrow, a Twitter, or anything else that you care for that got taken off market that can't be bought because it's as free as Linux or the web technologies of old, the Apaches and the Firefoxes, the Sandmails of the world. Open source doesn't have to mean has a sucky user experience or user interface. We can change that. Now, you wonder why I'm rambling about this at a JavaScript conference. I believe JavaScript is in an incredibly unique position to do all the things I've talked about. Incredibly unique. It's just like 2 exaggerations in one go. We're at the point where larger scale JavaScript application development becomes manageable. Grunt, human power, all these tools that make it easier for us to build cool, to build and ship stuff. And there's new ones that come out every week, and I can't even keep track of all the shit that gets released, and it's fantastic. We've spent some time yesterday looking at the advances of JavaScript on the client, synchronizing databases in the browser, solid real-time socket streaming in the browser. It's completely mind-blowing, the technology we have at hand to build cool stuff with. When I started thinking about this whole idea, when I had the first inkling of an idea that JavaScript would be a big thing, I felt something was missing. And then after a bit of a hiatus, I got back into Node for a side project. And a few weeks in, the penny dropped. Node makes this whole picture complete. As great as the web front-end stack is, it needs some sort of back-end to work. And what good is a JavaScript world domination if you build it on top of a Rails app? That's not to bash Rails, it's awesome, but we want it to be all JavaScript. So Node gives us full power over the backend, and not just for scripty things like web app frameworks and REST API servers. We can build mail servers, chat servers, socket servers, databases, interfaces, components, glue code, and APIs everywhere. It's awesome. Node is shaping up to reinvent the server-side wheel one more time, but Node does so with the benefit of looking at all the mistakes everybody else made and mostly avoid them, which is pretty cool. Node collected and curates a community that cannot be bothered with accepting the status quo just for its own sake. Michael had a fantastic blog post to that end earlier this week. I recommend you read it, and all the other stuff he writes. It's a community that knows that ease of use and performance are as important as they are shiny. We need to take that. We need to use it. We need to jump into that. We need to reinvent all the wheels in Node if we want to, or anywhere else if we prefer. But if we do it somewhere else, we need to take the same mindset of moving things forward, making it easier and better for everybody. So far, mostly talked about the web, but Node goes further. Controlling hardware, Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, controls robots. There's nothing Node won't do where it can't make a dent. We need to take advantage of that. We need to reinvent everything. Digitally controlled houses, cleaning robots, automate feeding your dog. We, here and now, we can build the next generation of internet household and community services. Well, let me rephrase that. We will build the next generation of these services, like you and me. And it's entirely up to us what the generation will look like. And I sure hope that you're as tired of the same old crap as I am. Node is shaping up to be a cross-platform backend environment, even on mobile. Thank you to Brian for bringing that up yesterday. It's fantastic. And we need to use it in that way. If we like other backend stacks, that's also fine. Build cool shit that blows us away and then port it to Node, or we port it for you. It doesn't matter. We need to make things better, move things forward. It's important. We will build APIs for everything. We will establish sensible policies for using those APIs. If APIs emerge to be useful, we turn them to protocols and to put them to the standards body like the IETF or the W3C. We need to get them into everybody's hands and build consensus around the things that we think are important. HTML5 in browsers, desktop or mobile, give us an unlimited power to ship amazing user experiences. Again, Brian yesterday talked about all the stuff that we have today that just lets us ship crazy cool shit. Do this. And we need to take all the stuff we built. We need to take the APIs and build amazing web experiences on top of that. And we need to encourage native front ends to our APIs as well if we have a cool API. We must not get lost in conflict. Every platform has their strength. And we need to ship things that are awesome, regardless of where it's coming from. We need to build products for everybody. Not another Linux desktop. That failed. Stop. Yeah, sorry, that wasn't my main point. If you're not a product person, like a few people are, find collaborators that are, meet designers, party more, like yesterday, like do more of this, or build tools that help other people to get connected to build products that make a difference. And we need to observe each other very closely and copy and fork processes, the way of how we do these things as freely as code. We need to advocate to get our technology stack into every possible development and runtime environment, move web standards forward, report WebKit on Android bugs. Just don't waste your time on platform wars. We need to make our stack the first thing people install on new machines. Think about things like Dropbox, Skype, or 1Password, like stuff that people can't live without. We must make our tools and our products unresistible. All right, another break for me here. Assuming that creating a digital, like just a technical solution alone will solve or will bring the new future, that's myopic at best. Like, it's not going to happen. That brings me to business and politics, really. Politics allows us to get more people behind our cause. In essence, what I'm doing here is giving a political talk. Politics is deriving a strategy on how to get into everybody's minds. Politics is identifying allies and forging alliances to move a cause forward. Politics is also keeping our collaborators together and moving them forward. Politics are messy. They involve yelling and disagreement and passion and solutions that aren't binary as the merge state of a pull request. We nerds are traditionally not that strong in this area, but all of our experience, the sweat and the effort we put into the things we're building would be for naught if we wouldn't be working on the right thing and in the right environment. And we don't know if we are working on the right thing if we don't challenge the world and convince the world to go with us. Politics, in a more narrow sense, is also administration. People who run the government, the region, the city for us. People who make laws and manage the taxes for everybody's benefit. I used to be oblivious to politics. They didn't understand the web. They printed out emails, still do. They didn't care about my world, until they did. With the proliferation of online services and ubiquitous internet access, politicians are all over my interests. For example, in Germany, where I'm from, if somebody torrents a movie over your Wi-Fi, and even if you don't know about it, it is your fault and you will get sued. The result is as simple as it is annoying. You will not find open hotspots in Germany for the most part. And that sucks monkey balls. It's bad. It's ridiculously bad. Why we're not allowed to use our shared resource Wi-Fi to connect each other? It's ridiculous. And then the it's of course a result of the entertainment industry at the work. The entertainment industries are pushing a law after law into existence that tries to put barriers into controlling the web. That's SOPA and ACTA that we successfully killed. The newest one is Clean ID, and there's a one coming up every 3 months. And we need to be diligent and keep fighting them and eventually rooting out the people who do this. I'm not suggesting that the web shouldn't be governed by law like everything else in life, but we must make sure that these laws benefit everybody now and in the future, and not a dwindling minority that doesn't do much for society, but that happens to have the most money to spend on influencing politicians who don't have a clue or don't give a shit. We must not let them lead us to the wrong side of history. And that's just one lobby group, the entertainment industry. There's plenty more. We need to hack politics. We need to form our own lobby groups. We need to run for office. We need to go the long and tedious way of politics to make sure we can keep directing our world. I don't care which party you want to do this with, or if you want to create a new one, or whatever you want to do, just don't be oblivious like I was. I lost track. That was really bad. I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. My fault. So, politics and business. Business, like politics, isn't something that comes naturally to us nerds. Show of hands. Who here runs a business? Who here employs more than her or himself? You guys are heroes. We need more people like you. A special shout out to Charlie, who talked yesterday about his experience as an open source CEO. That was an amazing talk. I loved everything about it. We sadly couldn't get it for JSConf EU, so I'm glad I get to see it here. So thanks for that. It was great. So business. I was raised capitalist, but I'm not necessarily a huge fan. And this is important, capitalism, business, and markets are fantastic tools that we can exploit to fuel great ideas. So here, I'm standing up here pretending my ideas are great, yay. But maybe you have great ideas, and we can work on them. The advice I would give us is that if we lack a sense of business, and it's me, I like sense of business, we need to find people with business sense and who are eager to play, I'm not strictly talking about MBA douchebags. Sorry if one of you is an MBA douchebag, but someone who is willing to take responsibility of running a business, like you would take responsibility of building the technological foundation of your next product. And like a designer would take responsibility of designing that product before you build it. Like the creatives, the business folks will want to test new features of our businesses, fail at getting more customers in one way, and then switch to another one that works. It's great. We need to find the people and trust them to find the right way to operate. And then there's business in the non-market sense. Mozilla is a curious beast. A non-profit organization wholly owns a for-profit organization of the same name. Money talks, and Mozilla Corp means business, and that's working great. Alas, money also corrupts. You see Twitter and others, and all the other things that we talked about earlier. But with Mozilla, the non-profit has last say about what happens with the money. And thus it sets direction. That's crucial, and that's awesome, because they can focus on projects like Do Not Track that goes against everybody's industry's interest, because they don't have that financial interest coming in. And that's, I bloody love Mozilla for that. I love that it works for them. We need to fork that shit. They started using a sugar daddy paying the bills. You don't necessarily need the patron saint that has a cache of money to spare. That was just their way of hacking business. Nerds did that. We can do that too. Like, why aren't there Mozillas in the world? Or services like Wikipedia. In fact, I don't recall anything like it. Maybe OpenStreetMap, but to a lesser degree. Why don't we fork the Wikipedia process and apply it to other community services? Why don't we really fuel OpenStreetMap? Why don't we use our newfound political power? Remember, we went into politics just a few minutes ago, and now we're controlled by the taxes. Why don't we divert a bit of the money that is for everybody, say from the military or from financial bailout programs, to the Wikipedia and OpenStreetMap? And then, like, Apple wouldn't have that fucking disaster going on because they were shipping OpenStreetMap by default. There are some companies that productize commonly shared resources. My prime love-hate relationship in that regard is mobile carriers. And by love-hate relationship, I mean hate-hate relationship. The air they sell access to is ours. And yet we get milked to the bones and ripped off and treated like shit by companies that we granted the right to administer this shared resource for us. And again, I'm not suggesting these people shouldn't earn a profit, but if they would put the greater good before making a profit, we'd all be better off. Imagine an organization like Mozilla that would run a global mobile carrier. Imagine a seamless roaming between GSM and community-run mesh Wi-Fi networks across borders. I get all giddy thinking about this. Let's build one of those. Or better, 10. Like, we need this. Really. We need to innovate on design and technology and product like we've did forever, but we also need to innovate on business models. The central point of control that I keep lamenting about is what makes the money currently. And if we're, that's fine. But if we're truly believing in a distributed future, we must figure out new business models that take advantage of the new distributed architecture and use that to their advantage in a way that it creates more value for the people than the centralized versions did. Small way of that is monetary incentives. They work wonders. Remember the nerd community service I talked about earlier, when I suggested like every house or block or district should have a network operating center that is run by the local nerds for the benefit of the people that are not nerds, where they can get web access and internet access and email and whatnot. We need to figure out a way that these nerds make money while they provide the service, and we'll find that they will flock to it like crazy. It's going to be good. And yeah, while we're at it, let's try to kill advertising. There was a time when people grudgingly admitted that JavaScript was probably, maybe, eventually, I don't know, the most successful language in terms of lines of code written, impact to users, and installations. The browsers were in the dark ages, and it wasn't just pleasure or fun to work with it, and nobody was happy to say, hey, we've got JavaScript everywhere, that's great. Today, we're very, very proud that we've built on that legacy, that we've improved, that we keep improving that legacy. And with the crazy amount of mindshare that goes into JavaScript, like thank you to the Browser Wars 2.0, we keep pushing it farther and farther in more and more directions. And then we hit Node. I know there's no way to stop us, nor anyone willing to stop JavaScript from dominating the world. Remember, let's reinvent all the wheels. Let's be pioneers, let's hack politics, and let's hack business. We are all JavaScript people. The future is ours. Thank you.